Hello, everybody. Welcome along. Thank you for joining us. This is the first of our 4 Commissioner Conversation sessions. I'm Chris Jarvis. I work on CBeebies. I'm also playing Madame Bonbon in Pantomime in Pool. Please come. All seats available. Now, this afternoon, we're going to explore the commissioning priorities, plans, and processes of 3 commercial public service broadcasts. Plus, we'll have the latest news and information about the Young Audiences Content Fund. But first, a word about our lovely sponsor. Thank you so much. Our session is sponsored by Fourth Wall. Thank you, Fourth Wall. Big thank you to them. We couldn't produce all of this without their help. Well, there are speed meetings associated with this session. They're in Zoom and they start at 3:30, but you needed to have booked at 9 this morning. There's no point in just turning up. I'm so sorry. Because of the speed meetings, there's no follow-up chat in Wonder associated with this session, but I can recommend some video follow-up chats that start immediately after the session ends at 3 p.m. One is your chance to ask questions to the speakers in perspective of the golden rules for success in kids' music, and at the same time you can meet Kenneth Anderson, the talented character designer who features in The Art of Character Design, obviously enough. Even if you haven't seen those videos yet, they're well worth meeting in Wonder. The link to Wonder is in the red box in the session description just below this live stream. But between now and then, let's meet the commissioners. There we go. So today we're lucky enough to have with us Jackie Edwards, who is the head of the Young Audience Content Fund. Hello. Sinead Wynne Roberts, who's the outgoing content commissioner for children's and learning. There we are at S4C. Paul Mortimer, content director on demand and acquisitions at ITV. And Louise Bucknall, VP for kids programming at Viacom, CBS, UK and Ireland. Hello to all of you. There we go. Very friendly here. Hello and a very good afternoon, first of all. Let's get stuck into our first speaker. And her name is Jackie Edwards, head of the Young Audience Content Fund. Hello, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jarvis. Lovely to be here.
I love where you are. It's practically a set. You could probably film the repair shop there or something, or the sewing bee. It looks beautiful. Is that your conservatory?
It's my glorified lean-to, yes, Chris. Thank you for
very, very nice. Okay, well, we'll get stuck into the questions. What has been the first, with the Young Audience Content Fund, what has been the biggest standout, most positive thing that's come from the fund, would you say, Jack?
Oh, Chris, there are so many things to choose from. It's really hard to pick anything, but I would say just the level of engagement from the whole of the community, from all of industry, and that was crucial to making the fund a success. It really was. I would say the structure and process that the development as funding is given to new and emerging production companies to do development properly, and the results that's been an amazing success. And not least of all, the wonderful productions that these lovely commissioners have commissioned, and how we've been able to get those to green light and into production in such a short space of time. That's been another huge success, and not to mention a huge delight. So that's just sort of 3. I could go on, but probably shouldn't.
Well, it sounds all very, very positive. I mean, is it worth mentioning any of the maybe challenges and negatives that you've experienced along the way?
There are very few challenges, apart from, I suppose, I wish that public service media for children was more of a conversation topic more broadly in the country. It's so important, and I think there's a current public service media debate going on, and children's isn't talked about. So I think the fund is helpful in kind of making that a more visible, making children's television more of a visible conversation. I'd say, just sort of the overwhelming number of applications we get from time to time. I wish we had a sort of magic wand to sort of move things through quicker. I wish we had more resource as well, because the demand is certainly there for the funding we have.
Well, I think you're going to take us through a presentation showing some of the things that you've been doing. Should we do that now?
yes, I'm afraid I am going to do a PowerPoint presentation. I do apologise, everybody, but it keeps me vaguely on track. So I will try and be very quick, but there's so much to say about the first 2 years of the Young Audiences Content Fund. And all of it will be said in our full evaluation report, which is brewing at the moment and will be sent to the DCMS at the end of summer. And that will form a critical part of government decision making at this year's autumn spending review. But for now, I will take you for a very quick canter through some top fund facts. Just first, before I get into it, I just wanted to say the conference theme of Together this year really suits the conversation about the fund. I mean, it is a community endeavour with everyone, producers bringing their best ideas, broadcasters commissioning brilliant things, and all of us as an industry engaging fully. It just wouldn't have worked. But together we have made it work, and it continues to be working through year 3. And you might have read of a little reduction in our funding this year, but safe to say we still have a very, very useful amount of money available, and our door is still very much open to brilliant ideas for young audiences. So please keep the applications coming and book early to avoid disappointment. Thank you. Public service announcement. But okay, I shall get into it. Let's recap. Why are we here? Well, the fund was set up to address market failure, which had resulted in a 40% decline in spend in quality for children between 2006 and 18. That was 60% reduction in hours through programmes that inform, entertain and inspire. And against this background, Ofcom's 2018 Children's Content Review noted particular deficits in live action and also programmes that catered for older children and especially teenagers. The fund mission was very simple then. It was to support new programmes that can help balance, particularly in these areas. So, how did we do? Well, together, we've done some great things. The level and quality of the participation has been a really gratifying thing about the whole project. Great ideas from all parts of the country, different voices with different stories. Broadcasters, I just wanted to say a very big thank you to our broadcaster pals who've been great advocates for the fund, and better still, great and enthusiastic commissioners of programmes. You'll be hearing from some of them shortly about some of our wonderful collaborations, but to say thank you very much for engaging with the fund so wonderfully. Now then, facts. So, production. In the first 2 years, we've supported 42 brand new shows that would likely not have happened without the fund. These productions span all genres, from current affairs to comedy, from tackling subjects including genetics, history, politics, resilience, bereavement, positive mental health, relationships and the world of work, catering for audiences from tots to teens. There's plenty of live action in there. Drama makes up the largest proportion of awards. Factual and factual entertainment are really well catered for, and older children and teenagers are really well featured too. The animated programmes have definite UK sensibilities, quirks and sense of humour that all serve as a great cultural counterpoint to imported animation with very global and commercial sensibilities. Development awards. The Development Fund has had a huge impact, I would say, as I mentioned earlier, and shows how a little resource can give structure and focus to development, and it gets results. Not only have broadcasters commented on the improved quality of pictures, we are currently estimating an amazing 10% conversion from development awards to your actual commissions, which is fantastic. Also, this funding has been hugely important in supporting new talent. All of our projects have at least one writer, producer, director who has 3 or fewer credits. So the Development Fund is helping develop new talent as well. So, broadcast date. The fund has been a lifeline for many during the pandemic, and the myriad successes of the fund are all in the context of this last awful year. COVID paused a good number of projects that should likely have been broadcast by now, but are only just resuming production and likely won't be broadcast until after a decision is made on the fund. It's worth bearing in mind. But that said, an impressive slate of production has already been broadcast despite the pandemic. Not only are these shows addressing known programming deficits born of market failure in this sector, they are also winning audiences, winning awards, and winning already recommissions. Our evaluation framework measures success against our fund priorities in multiple ways. All of our fund priorities, of all of them, audiences must surely be the most important. And we've been doing lots of work. We measure all sorts of criteria against our fund priorities. And for audiences, obviously, we're looking at Barb. We are gathering some more feedback and information from young audiences via our current See Yourself on Screen challenge. Entries close 6 p.m. on Sunday, so please do get your entries in, everybody. And as well as those things, we've been working with Into Film, who have a UK network of film clubs, and we've got over 200 feedback survey reports from them. And they're hugely positive on all sorts of things that you look for in great public service content. We've got some quotes here, and I think my favourite one, you can learn new things and have a good laugh at the same time, will surely be a new dictionary definition for public service content. Reflecting the UK, it's a really important thing for public service media to reflect its territory. It shows us who we are and how to be, and it's really important. So young audiences need to see themselves on the screen, and you need producers that are telling authentic stories that represent all of us, from all nations, regions and communities. And the fund is making real headway in this regard. Shows awarded are highly culturally distinctive on and off screen. The majority of the awards are set in recognisable locations all around the country. In year 2, production awardees are now demographically representative of the UK population as a whole. Just as an example, in year 2, 20% of production awardees were from underrepresented ethnic groups compared to 6% last year. So we've made real progress in who is making the programmes for our young people, and that is a fantastic thing. The fund also is supporting jobs and skills in the country, and that's a really important thing in addition to the societal and cultural impact the fund is having. There are real economic benefits, and it's having an impact on job retention and creation all around the UK, with most of the work occurring outside of London and the UK and South East. Awards are upskilling the workforce, or production awards contribute to the Skills Investment Fund and offer on-production training, as well as the opportunity that development resource offers to bring new talent on and support company growth. We also have a commitment to sustainable production and promoting diversity and inclusion. All of it is very, very good for business. Now, final slide, 25% of the population, they are 100% of the future. By the end of the year, second year, the combined spend on production and development awards was over 30 million. But when cash is one thing, but what you do with that cash and the value that you get out of it is another. Value is a thing we must focus on from these 2 years. For a relatively small spend, the Young Audiences Content Fund has brought real value to the public service media landscape, to the production community, and most of all, value to young audiences, informing, entertaining and inspiring them with programmes of cultural and societal significance that are made just for them. As a wonderful keynote speaker Andrea said last night, children need this sort of television, and never more so than now. So that is my quick roundup. Can we play the sizzle reel, please, now?
Have you ever been surrounded by people and yet you feel alone?
Give them something positive to come and be a part of.
You've done absolutely amazing.
Are you nervous?
I'm really nervous.
You don't look nervous at all. You look completely in your element.
Oh, that's so cute. We all have a voice. Hij zal gewoon meer verwachten. En dit is Saturday Media.
Wow. Thank you very much, Jackie. Thanks for all you've done and you're doing. I've got a quick question for you, actually, and it's coming from Rebecca with regards to the deadline on Sunday. What format should they submit their applications in, and is there a template for the submission, and is there a submission fee?
Please, if you go to the See Yourself on Screen website, all information is there. You need to do a short video pitch and fill in the form, and you need to be 18 years or under to enter. But it's a really great competition this year. Last year we had a fantastic response where people could pitch an idea for a television show they wanted to see in lockdown. This year it's celebrating 75 years of regular children's television, but we're asking the kids to submit ideas for TV programmes 75 years in the future. So it's forward-looking and optimistic tone of voice this year. So please get entering. Tell your friends.
Jackie, how do you see the future of the fund?
I'm really optimistic about the future. I think, it's done so much tangible good for industry and for audiences already. In the short time the fund has been around, we've been able to get shows broadcast and things are being recommissioned because audiences are voting with their eyes. And people say, kids are all migrating to other platforms. And, maybe there's just not been enough of this sort of content that they relate to and reflects their life. Maybe there's just not been enough of it around to make them stick around more usual platforms. But I think it's doing so much good. I'm optimistic about a future fund, but obviously that's a government decision that will happen after spending review in the autumn.
Jackie, thank you very much. Lovely to see you. I'll let you water your tomatoes or prune your potted palms, whatever you've got to do in your lean-to. Lovely seeing you again. Thank you. On to our next speaker. Very good afternoon to Sioned Wynne Roberts, who's the outgoing Content Commissioner for Children's and Learning at S4C. Hello there, Sioned. How are you?
Hi, Chris. Hi.
Good to see you. Would you like to introduce your video?
Yes, it's just clips of some of our popular shows. So, run VT.
Magana ni ka vrienda. Dit die re. Daku sali malika dai derin bach dacto. As na krapjan en a koi ti allan. Naini! Manu bron mach karad ge. Raid ik karad as em gasna.
Mae bach yn angheg bod bechgyn sy'n gwisgo coil ddim really yn gallu mynd mas, achos mae merched yn gallu ond pan ddim bechgyn.
Mae'n cymryd guts I fod yn tŷ dy hun weithiau.
A chroeso nôl I Gema Gama.
It's a me!
Helo, pawb!
Mae Cymru yn mynd yn viral.
Ta-da!
Wonderful, wonderful, and great to see that you've been benefiting from the YAC there. And this is the most important question I've got to ask. Everybody wants me to ask, but are you S4C commissioning any new shows at the moment? If so, what sort of shows are you on the lookout for?
Yeah, definitely. We're always commissioning. So there's around 48 hours of Q. So if Q is preschool, Stunch is for between 7 and 12s, and then we're also looking at the 13 to 16-year-old age group now, thanks to the YAC Fund. So yes, we're always looking for new content. I think that the next steps for us will be to look at the age 7 to 12s. So as you said, I'm moving on from this job, and there's going to be a new content commissioner. Her name is also Sioned, and she's Sioned Geraint, and will be starting in September. And I'll then be going on to write up a strategy about kids' content and where we put that content. So like everybody else, the issue is, what other platforms can we use? Do we keep our linear channel? Do we move our content onto apps or on demand, or use YouTube or any of the social media channels and so on? So these are all the things that are kind of up in the air at the moment, but we still, of course, have to run the channel. So we're still looking for ideas for preschool, for 7 to 12s, and also with the YAC Fund for the older 13 to 16s.
Right. So, but in particular, you're looking for that middle audience.
Well, I think we're in a time of change, really. We're kind of looking at new ways of reaching out to that audience. And in the clip earlier on, we've set up this kind of YouTube channel for young people between 10 and 12, and we've kind of had to grow our own influences, if you like. So we've developed and we've recognized a few of the really good YouTubers, and we're encouraging them now to make films for us, because with social media and with content on YouTube, although kids are always, they're making their own content, they're watching content, obviously most of it is in English. So in a way, we have to invest in that platform in order to make sure that young people will produce content in Welsh as well. Sorry, I've lost my voice.
While you're taking a quick sip of water, just to remind everybody to use the smiley button on your screen if you have a question. So just use that, click on the smiley face and smiley button there, and you can ask a question. That's great. The new Sioned coming, I worked with on Step Inside in Wales, so I know how brilliant she is. Just a quick question to you. Any more news, by the way? Any more latest news from S4C that you want to share?
Well, it's mainly this idea that we're looking at the content. Then the other new thing is that we're also commissioning for 13 to 16s, and that really has come about because of the YAC fund. This is a new area for us. In the last year, I've commissioned 2 shows for that age group, and they have been part funded by the YAC fund. And as Jackie said, things have been a bit on hold because of COVID, but they're now going into production. So really, really excited about that.
And is Sioned Geraint the new person to contact, or is there someone who you'd be better to refer everyone to?
Sioned will be in post by the 1st of September. So yes, she would be further.
Yeah.
There's not much I can do in the next 4 weeks. So yes, it would be a good idea to contact Sioned. She's not starting until September. But I'll also still be there in this new role anyway, so we'll be working together a lot.
So if you start Dear Sioned, you're covered, really.
Yeah.
Exactly. What has been inspiring you these days in children's shows, children's TV?
Well, I've been really impressed. It's not really more in development. I mean, I've been really impressed with the projects that are coming through that have been backed by the YAC fund. That we don't pay for development. We have no money for developing shows, but because companies can tap into the YAC fund development fund, and that has backed quite a few really, really exciting projects. I mean, the quality and the quantity of projects that we're being pitched now is really exciting. So those are always really good to see. I mean, something I've seen is not a kids program, but it had a real effect on me, and that was Small Axe, the education drama about the boy who is 12 years old, and he, like many other children, was segregated in a way, and it was because of his West Indian background, and it was just such an emotive drama.
Oh, thank you. I haven't seen that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time, Sioned. Lovely to see you, and all the best with your next project, wherever you go to next. Are you allowed to say?
Thank you very much.
Secret? Nice to see you, Sioned. Let's move on to our third speaker today, who is Paul Mortimer, Content Director, On Demand and Acquisitions at ITV. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Working from my kitchen today. I don't have a lean-to like Jackie, alas.
Well, it looks quite showbiz, although I can't see the beers lined up for the football, but you've picked them well. They're all in the fridge. Would you like to link to your sizzle tape?
Sure. It's a short sizzle. It is just that, but hopefully it will give you a sense of the flavour, some of the variety that exists across CITV. Some of the content you'll see has been funded as well by the Young Audiences Content Fund. So we're very grateful to Jackie and her team for that.
Excellent. Oh, hang on. The name's Magoo. Mr. Magoo. All right, it's me, Dave, and I'm still in Grimsby with my family. Hello, Kitty.
I need you all back here alive. I've lost too many explorers down there.
We talk about things that matter in your lives.
We're all human. Everyone should be treated the same.
Have you ever wondered how to do really cool stuff like
how to make an egg fluorescent?
How to cause chaos with a K? Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another awesome Saturday Scramble. Yay!
Fabulous. Love a pinata. So the most important question to you then, Paul, is CITV commissioning new shows at the moment? And if so, what kind of shows are you after?
We are commissioning, yes. We're in an enforced hiatus at the moment, I have to say. COVID has been a real issue for, I think, all of us, especially in kids, and especially if you're working with kids, as we do in a lot of our live action series. But we will be up and running with a new commissioning round, I hope, for this year. And there's no change really in terms of the remit. We are looking for live action and animation, where our audience is 6 to 12 years of age. Our commissioning spend is skewed towards live action primarily. That's where we can really kind of get the kind of content that allows our audience to see themselves on screen, which I think is really important. I think if you're a UK PSB, I think that is primary obligation. Our audience, if it's helpful to producers to know who they are, they're more likely to be based outside London in the regions. They're more likely to be working class. And we want to reach them with stories and formats that reflect their lives and also their aspirations. I think in terms of tone, we have a position which is slightly left of CBBC, and a bit of irreverence, a bit of comedy and energy are always key ingredients in the type of programming that we're looking for across all genres, really.
Brilliant. And who is the best person to contact at CITV?
Well, it depends on the project. You can contact me, but you'll probably get a quicker response if you go through the relevant genre team. So CITV, much like all of the other channels at ITV, the content is looked after by commissioning editors in either comedy or entertainment or factual. We do have some people who are becoming kids specialists within those teams, and people might know Gemma John-Lewis. She's a commissioner in our entertainment team and looks after a couple of our new live action series. And Darren Narty is head of kids acquisitions and co-pros. And Simon Tompkins, who pretty much runs the programming for CITV as well as a couple of other channels. He's a good go-to person for any kind of general advice around CITV, what we're looking for, when we're open for commissioning, etc.
Brilliant. Okay, and what's been inspiring you since lockdown started and recently? Kids or otherwise?
Yeah. I think in terms of personally, actually, in the kids space, I think the progress that's been made, largely due to technology, I'm sure, in animation is spectacular. I think some of the French animation houses are doing some phenomenally brilliant work, and it is always about great characters and good storytelling, but I just think the artwork and the animation is brilliant. We have a reboot of a really old franchise on CITV, Mr. Magoo, which comes out of that kind of stable, and it's fabulous, amazing to look at. But more generally, and I guess more close to home, I think in lockdown, I was really impressed with the BBC, actually, and what they did to really quickly turn around those kind of curriculum-based, bite-sized CBBC pieces that they did. They got them into the schedule very quickly, helping out frazzled parents across the land who, for the first time had got to homeschool their kids. And I thought that really was PSB at its absolute best. So you've got to commend the BBC for doing that. They have the resources one would assume, to be able to do it in the way that some of the rest of us don't. But I was really impressed with that, actually, and I thought that was where television, free television, and linear television stepped up and came good. So there was a lot of downsides to COVID, not least, as I've said, with halting production, but also the way that producers turned their hands to making things in COVID-safe ways, adopting new protocols, and delivering to the audience in spite of the fact that it was very difficult to do so.
How much of the profile of everything on ITV, CITV, has been changed by the YAC? How much impact has it had? Is it considerable, I'd imagine, or not?
Yeah, unbelievable, actually. I mean, for us, the great thing was ITV as a business, knowing that we wanted to actively engage with the fund, increased CITV's budget. It's a match funding initiative. So in order to do as much as we needed to have our own kind of coffers in order to do that. And we have 8 projects, 2 of which have transmitted, 6 of which are still to do so. 5 are for CITV, 2 are for our preschool zone Little B, which is on the ITVB channel. And then we've got a drama as well for teenagers, which will play on ITV2 actually next year. And none of that would have been possible without the fund. I think in the sizzle reel you saw the reboot of How, which we've done, third time round. Yeah, and a kind of high concept physical game show called Don't Unleash the Beast, both of which, as Jackie alluded, both of which rated really well and inevitably have come back for second series. And then we've got a series called Make Away, Take Away, which is a crafting show, make and do show. Really, really wonderful. We're into scripted, the most expensive form of television, whether it's for kids or grown-ups. That's called Ted's Top 10. Yeah, just really happy to be back in production, working with Jackie and her amazing team, and doing great work and putting fantastic content in front of our audience.
Paul Mortimer, thank you so much for your time today, and it's so great to hear that everything's going so well for CITV and ITV. It's worth mentioning here, actually, there is a research video in the CMC video library for the conference. The research was commissioned by ITV and done by Giraffe Insights. They looked at what keeps kids coming back. What keeps kids coming back? They call it the boomerang effect. Well worth catching up with, and it's in the video library research strand. Please check it out. On to our 4th and final speaker today, Louise Bucknall, who's VP for Kids Programming at Viacom CPS in UK and Ireland. Hello there, Louise. Nice to see you.
Hello. Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm very well. Good to see you. Thank you for your time today. Would you like to say a little about your sizzle tape?
Yeah, sure. So Milkshake is on Channel 5 every morning. We have a studio of 9 presenters, and we're celebratory of kids and their families. But I think the best people to tell you about it is some of our presenters. So let's have a look at the tape.
Welcome to Milkshake. It's time to get happy. We're on air every morning celebrating kids and families all over the country.
Good morning, Milkshakers.
From mini milestones, happy birthday, to big cultural moments.
Ramadan happens once every year.
We bring kids their favourite characters.
Isn't it amazing?
Ready for action, Ryder, sir.
Brand new shows.
Whoa! I don't believe it.
Easy peasy, really.
And help them explore the world around them.
That makes much more sense.
We inspire kids to get up and join in at home.
We're getting crafty now here in the Milkshake studio.
And out and about across the UK.
You're lovely, you are.
With all of this and so much more when you wake up with Milkshake, it really is sunshine every day.
Hooray! Now, just a quick reminder, just before we start talking to Louise, that we have got time for your questions to all our speakers at the end of this session. So please get your question in now. All you have to do is hit that smiley button and put your question. Please say who it's for and your name. That would be great. And we'll come to those very soon. But Louise, thank you very much for your sizzle. That very important question that everybody wants asking, are you commissioning? Is Milkshake commissioning new shows at the moment? If so, what sort of shows are you after?
Absolutely. We've got a commitment to 50 UK originated hours from this year. We're just about to launch a couple of new animations, Circle Square from Windley Animation in about 2 weeks' time, and then which is a animated soap for preschoolers. And then Odo from 16 South, which deals with a little owl that is small but thinks big, and that's in August. We're in production with a number of live action series that were delayed due to COVID last year. Meet the Experts from Boom Kids, and then our drama, which we're very excited about, from Adastra, Mimi's World. We've also commissioned Pop Paper City, which is a lovely animated show that we'll talk about a little bit later. But we've got returning series of Go Green with the Grimways. That's a recommission from the Young Audiences Content Fund Production Award, Milkshake Monkey. And what we look for is a variety of animation and live action. The live action, we want to see kids on screen and represent what's important to them. Diversity on and off screen is also really important for all the content that we have. We had earlier launches this year of Milo and Pip and Posy. And what we're looking for, our slots are into 2023 now. We look for lovable characters that could carry globally, because we obviously have a network across Nick Jr. as well, and also Noggin. We're looking for strong, addictive storytelling. We want that core theme and hook, heart and humour. Milkshake is aimed at 2 to 5 years old, and we want them to make kids feel something about the content. I love the quote from Maya Angelou that says, people forget what you said or did, but they always remember how you made them feel. And I think that really carries through to sort of content for everybody, including kids. We have a framework of content that we look at the Early Years Foundation, and also play patterns are quite important. We're looking for 5, 7 or 11 minute durations. Regional content and production companies of really big interest to us, because we want to work with the best creators across the UK, and particularly areas that we feel that we don't have content at the moment is STEM, literacy and maths, always about understanding the world around kids and understanding their world, and healthy lifestyles, but above all, friendship and fun in everything that we do. So yeah, definitely commissioning.
Brilliant. Well, on that point, we just had a question come in from Helena. Thank you very much. How is it best to get a preschool animation commission? Do you suggest going straight to yourself, or team up with an independent production company?
It really depends on the idea. So I think come to us if you want to, first of all, and we can always look at the initial idea, and we can accept ideas at any stage, whether it's the initial idea or a more developed pitch, or whether it's a sizzle or a piece of a test animation. If you team up with other production companies, that often is a good way of getting sort of more creativity into a project, and maybe some more funding as well. And we've seen a lot of collaborative, creative collaborations over the last year, particularly with companies working with each other. But I don't think there's one fixed route. And I think it's always best come with the idea that you really, really believe and that you're really passionate about, and then we become passionate about it as well.
Brilliant. And who is the best person to contact? Anyone?
So you can contact myself, and also there's Kyle Jenkins, who's the programming exec and manager. Louise Burgess, she's on maternity leave at the moment, but you might email her as well. There's always 2 Louises, now Kyle as well. You can visit the Channel 5 website to see the commissioning page, to see our commissioning process, but also submissions can be emailed directly to milkshakeprogramming@channel5.com. I think someone's going to put it in one of the chats, but you'll find that email on the Channel 5 website as well.
Thank you. Something I've asked the others, I'd love to ask you too. What's been inspiring you lately on the telly?
I think actually it's over the last year, what's really inspired me is the creativity that people have had. Some of the ideas that we've had where people have been sort of in lockdown, or really thinking about the kids' audience, and also the response that we've had from kids about activities and wanting to really tell their stories. I think that's been inspiring to us and the team. Last year we made 50 shorts, activity shorts, and we got such good feedback from the audience about sort of what they were doing and how that was keeping them occupied at home. And I think what inspires us every day is seeing the reaction from the audience to our content, and sort of how they engage with it, and also sort of how they love it as well. And that really sort of like motivates us to produce the best content. We've also been involved recently with the Secret Story Draw, and I think that was an amazing initiative. I know the award ceremony was last night, it was brilliant. And that really brought the industry together to encourage diverse illustrators and animators. And I think those kind of coming together of different broadcasters or producers, we're in a sort of really sort of great creative period at the moment where, sort of some of the ideas that are coming through are also supported by the Young Audiences Content Fund. It's been great, actually, to see some of the ideas.
So it sounds to me like the things that have inspired you and what's gone on over the lockdown has actually changed the way you think.
Yeah, I think so. And we've got sort of like a lot of new commissions coming up. We've just commissioned fifth series of Daisy and Ollie, another Go Green the Grimwades, Milkshake Monkey, and some of the other shows that I mentioned earlier. And I think we're also discussing a really exciting format about disability representation, which we hadn't sort of looked at before, and another one that is about exploring the world and different cultures. And again, we're hopeful that these will go through sort of the Young Audiences Content Fund. And what we have seen is that the Young Audiences Content Fund has really sort of helped us commission formats that we might not have looked at before, so the additionality. So, for example, Mimi's World, the drama, was commissioned specifically with the Young Audiences Content Fund in mind, and is going into production. It was delayed due to COVID last year, and also some fact-ent formats where we see kids being themselves on screen. A show, Meet the Experts, that we've got in the autumn, but also Go Green with the Grimwades, which was the first preschooler influencer family, sort of encouraging people to be green. So I think the more diversity of shows that we've had, and also the sort of new content and new stories, and also new players as well. We've had a couple of commissions for producers that it was their first commission, for Milo and also for Pop Paper City as well.
Now I know you've got something to share with us.
Yes, well, we wanted to just show you just a clip from Pop Paper City. This is in production at the moment with Love Love. And what was interesting about this was we were pitched this in 2019. We absolutely loved the look at this. It went into some development with the Young Audiences Content Fund. We also put some funding in for development of the scripts. It got commissioned last year and it's now in production. And it's what we feel is sort of like, it's totally new and innovative. It's the first crafting adventure show because it's about a group of friends that go on adventures in their city alongside an adult that's the helping hand that helps them make the craft. So if we could show that clip.
Wow!
Oh, I'd have loved that as a kid.
So something quite different, and I think that's something that we've seen again because of the Young Audiences Content Fund. The quality of the content that's being pitched to us because of development is great. So we've got 10 production awards for content, some that's been transmitted already and some that's coming up soon. So as you can see, it just looks beautiful, and there's a whole paper town as well, which is a sort of like a model that Love Love made. So amazing.
Well, a long way from finger bobs when I was a child. Yeah. Thank you very much, Louise. If you wouldn't mind just staying with us, please. And we have all four speakers actually here now. And just a reminder that if you want to ask them a question, we've got a few minutes left. Any questions, please, for our speakers, for Jackie, for Sioned, for Louise or Paul, please just hit that smiley button and put your question to our panel. One here for Sioned, and this has come in from Alex. Thank you, Alex. Is it essential to be a Welsh language company to make things for S4C? Or are there ways of collaborating and co-producing, maybe in two languages, either in English and Welsh, or in Welsh with an international co-production? Over to you, Sioned.
No, definitely. We work with companies from all over the UK and beyond. I mean, if you're going to be pitching us an idea as a co-production idea, you're better off going for animation because we don't dub any live action into Welsh. So it would be, you would be better off pitching something either with puppets or animation and so on. But definitely, yes, more than happy to consider any ideas if they're good.
Thank you very much. A quick question for Jackie from Martin. Are you pleased with the reaction that you've had from the other speakers today? Obviously, lots of people raving about the YAC. You must be delighted.
Oh, well, it has been a collaborative venture, the Young Audiences Content Fund. And, without a broadcast gems, the fund would have been nothing. They're, wonderful commissions and wonderful choices, and then we support those choices. So it's lovely to hear them speak so highly of the fund. It's been a sort of valuable thing for everybody, and this is lovely.
Has it led to greater conversation between all the networks, do you think?
There's some interesting, it's case basis, but we talk together. Everybody's sort of part of our stakeholder group. That's a trade and industry body. So we get we report to them. But outside of that, there are specific projects that have been collaborations. Sinead and Louise, World According to Grandpa was something that you both collaborated on, and then programs like Soul, which was a co-commission as language broadcasters. And, Psychic Powers, unfortunately, it was commissioned pre-pandemic, but it became a very sort of apposite show during lockdown, dealing with the subject of death, bereavement and grief through the eyes of a small boy. And it was a really beautiful piece that went out last year and was shared with the English language broadcasters as well at Winter Solstice. So there have been really sort of obvious moments of collaboration, but I think generally speaking, it's been a very collaborative experience for everybody through the whole 2 years. So.
Brilliant.
I just wanted to add, if I could.
Great news. Well, we have a few questions coming in. Let's hope we can squeeze them all in. The first question here for Paul. Would ITV2 consider commissioning shows aimed at 13 to 15-year-olds in live action or animation? That's from Ed.
We wouldn't rule it out. I think one of the things at ITV, which we have, we're in the process of something of a transformation to a more on-demand first world. And I think what's exciting about that is you don't need, when we don't need to think about the linear channels anymore, we don't have to think about the kind of things that the kind of building blocks of the schedule, the kind of inheritance value of program X into program Y, keeping an audience engaged, because the whole nature of engaging with a streamer or an on-demand service is that anybody goes in there and they search around, they self-select and they self-schedule. So for us, that's quite exciting because it not only opens us up to targeting specific audiences, it also means we can expand the range of genres that we do as well. CITV currently as a linear channel is a very entertainment-based service, but it needn't be, and we are introducing a bit more factual into it, and there's a bit more content that's got social purpose attached to it, for example. And I think we can do that because we know that the audience is engaging with us in a different way. They're doing it in a non-linear way. They're on demand. They're in digital spaces, and that again is the benefit of all this great technology that allows us to distribute our content in different ways, but it allows us creatively to make different choices as well. So absolutely, if there's a great idea, as somebody else said, if it's a good idea, we'll take a look at it and worry about whether it's whether we've got the right home for it or not later.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Question from Jeff to all the broadcasters. Are we or should we be worried about losing 25% from the fund? Would you like to start, Sinead?
Yes, I think we should be worried. I was very disappointed that the money had been lost, especially as the fund was kind of gaining momentum, and a lot of the ideas that had received development funding were then going to go on to production. So yes, very much 100% behind the fund.
Louise?
Same. It was disappointing to hear that news, and I think the focus now for all of us is for the fourth year of the fund and beyond, we all know the value that it's bringing to the audience, the creativity, the diversity of content, the different audiences that we reach. I mean, on Channel 5 for The World According to Grandpa and Go Green with the Grimwods, we've seen a change in the audience ethnicity that's viewing Channel 5. So the kind of audience that's coming to our channels as a result of the fund is absolutely crucial. And so we're fully supportive of the fund to continue. We will continue to push through our projects. And yes, disappointing to see that it was reduced this year.
And Paul, would you go along with all that as well?
I would echo that, but I would also add it's not just broadcasters who will lose out, it's the production community. You know, a significant majority of the programming, as Jackie described, is going to people who haven't had the opportunity to get their programming on the television or their content in these kind of free spaces before. And also regionality is really important. A lot of the spend, a lot of the awards go outside of London, and that's really important. So, you know, the consequence is not just that the broadcasters will have less content, it's that producers and the production community will have less business.
Thank you very much. A question from Rachel, Fly High Stories. Hello, Rachel. What do you like to receive on a first approach? What helps you to make decisions on who to talk to and what to take forward? Who'd like to go first? Sinead?
Yeah. Firstly, I would say please watch the channel, because if you're coming with an idea that I already have, then you're wasting your time. So that would be the first thing. Find out what we have got, what we haven't got, and so on. I do think it's best to pitch in person if you can. So the way I prefer it is that somebody might email a quick email saying, "Are you interested in this kind of idea?" And then we can then take it from there. So you have the conversation. When you have the conversation, you expect to see some idea visuals, talent attached, the platforms that are involved, and so on. Maybe partnerships and so on. So if you can, come with a real package, the whole package, and it has to be right for our audience. So it could be a brilliant idea, but it's not right for us. So just
does the same apply to you, Jackie, for someone approaching the fund? Would the same apply?
Well, we tend not to encourage pitches pre-application, so we encourage people to read the guidelines, then read them again, because they're a right riveting read. And if they've got any sort of questions about the application process, questions about the project, we're really happy to have that conversation, but we don't take pitches as such, because we want to keep it sort of a pretty even playing field in terms of people applying. So if you've got questions, yes, but don't, pitches as such, no.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jackie. Does anyone else want to add to what's been said in that question from Rachel?
I think just to follow on from Sinead is actually, really watch the channel to see what we have, but also how your content would fit with that, or be unique to it. We don't want more of the same. We want different ideas, and being passionate and really believing in your characters or stories or how it's representing the audience. That's really what's going to sell it to us at Milkshake, and test it on some kids as well. If they like the idea as well, it can make it, sort of like you can enhance that. And you can do that sort of, very locally. Obviously, research groups of one, but it does help as well. But it can come in any format, the initial idea or a more fully developed pitch package, or even more fully developed if you've managed to get development funding from the Young Audiences Content Fund as well. So in any stage for us at Channel 5, we really would love to speak about sort of any ideas. And we also then review it not only for Milkshake, but also for the Nick Jr. network as well.
Thank you, Louise. You've actually just answered beautifully the question that is now on the screen from Helena Mitchell. So thank you, Helena, for your question, but you just got the answer. From Viola, is there a chance for creators from other countries to work with you? Paul, would you like to start?
We work with. Children's television is very international by its nature. So a lot of what we do in the co-production space, we've got partners across the globe. So that's not a problem. I think it might be difficult to secure funding. Jackie's a better place to answer that, but we don't know. We don't rule out international co-production. We don't rule out working with people from anywhere really.
Well, Paul, thank you very much. Thank you to all our speakers, to Louise, Sinead, Jackie and Paul. Thank you so much for your time today. Big thanks. Thank you. And thanks to everyone who has submitted a question, and thanks for everyone for joining us today. Big thank you to our sponsor, Fourth Wall. We can't thank you enough. Our amazing young change makers are coming up, and this one is a story of young people taking the initiative and producing for themselves. Ahead of that, let me just remind you of a couple of events, and I really want to recommend them too. This evening, don't miss out our collaboration with Scripts Out Loud. It's at 8 p.m. on Zoom, and it's a great event which sees voiceover artists interpreting and performing new animation scripts. That sounds a laugh. And we get to see all the secrets of the recording session. Nice. The next event here on the platform is a conversation with one of Britain's best-loved children's TV presenters, the wonderful children's author and Peter presenter, Connie Huck. It's a new strand for CMC, The Key 2, and this year The Key will unlock the background to the lovely Connie Huck, and we'll find out what really matters to her when it comes to the kids' audience. That's The Key to Connie Huck at 4 p.m. BST right here. So we'll say our farewells and hand over to two young men for the last few minutes of this session today. In the absence of Channel 4 in today's session, this is a really interesting story because these lads are producing their own movie, crowdfunded from scratch, scripting, filming, performing, and dragging in all their mates to make it happen. And it comes from the heart. Their story tells us something about authenticity. It definitely speaks to a theme which is coming up over and over again at this year's CMC, including in Andrea Zafiraku's opening keynote yesterday, trusting young people to know what they want, to create it and deliver it.
Hi everyone, it's Marcus Austin, director at XVI Films.
Hey guys, my name is Solomon Janu, producer at XVI Films.
And I'm just going to introduce how we met and our company.
So XVI Films is a multimedia production company that aims to tell stories for underrepresented.
XVI Films has been working now for 2 years on an up-and-coming film, London's Curse. Together we've worked with the community to make a short film around knife crime and knife crime prevention. Although the associates at XVI Films may be, on the younger age, we do believe that quality is over anything when it comes to our content.
XVI Films consists of Brit graduates, myself, Marcus Austin and Tyreek Jones.
So we didn't come together like a normal production company. Unfortunately, someone that I grew up with was unfortunately stabbed and killed. And it was a bit hard on me, to be honest. Especially, I've never experienced something like that before. The only way that I could kind of express my emotions was from writing a script. And that's kind of how I started writing London's Curse. I started off asking myself questions as why did this happen? Why would this happen to an individual that is so beloved in the community? And ultimately, I kind of made a short film around knife crime prevention. From there, I circulated it to Sel and Tyreek, and they gave me their opinions on how achievable it is. And ultimately, they came with the maddest respect, and they felt like we could go out and do this. We literally planned the day to go shoot. We called some of our friends to come down for a shoot. We picked up a camera on zero budget. We literally did everything by ourselves, and we came up with this.
I love Chris Rich.
I feel like it's strange because loss is something that usually breaks people apart, but I feel like loss is something that brought XVI Films together. And when Marcus brought the script to me and Tyreek, we were taken back. We were amazed about, first of all, the potential that this film could take, and we know that that's something that we're going to create.
Ultimately, I feel like it's a message that the community needed to hear. I feel like we just get the normal gang-related films. I feel like I wanted to be different and tell a story that, actually hits a lot of young people in the UK. I feel like picking up a knife was something that really affected my whole community, and I feel like this film is a way to give back to the community.
I feel like as an actor, it was quite an emotional journey to get into our characters. I feel like for my character especially, I had to get into the mind of why a person would take another person's life. And both of us as actors, I feel like we had to go through a really emotional journey where we became mature enough to really present these characters on screen for you guys to see.
We did crowdfunding. Hackney Wick was really instrumental with making this film even come apart. They put on their website that they want to help us crowdfund. A lot of people donated to us to make our short film, and really and truly it was such an amazing experience. I'm so thankful for everyone that helped us put in like £1 at least. Like everything was really mad for us.
It was beautiful because we had a target and we went above that target. Keeping in mind, we started off with nothing. And we said, okay, maybe let's just raise 500, and we ended up raising like way more. We started with literally extras that are school friends that wanted to act, or some people even know how to act, they just wanted to be there to see the experience, and from there we actually got people that are in the industry that wanted to work with us, help us film this, and ultimately it was an amazing experience altogether. And we hope with this we can continue to
make amazing content
and widen the amount of people we get to work with.
So together we filmed for 6 days on the London's Curse shoot. We filmed with a lot of young people, all under like 20. We all came together experiencing film literally
different. Everyone had different experiences of it. It was still super professional. We were still teaching each other, picking up on each other's mistakes, and we kind of managed to create something that was quality, and we're aiming to push that even further than we know with the knowledge that we've already gained from our mentors.
Ultimately, London's Curse was an amazing experience, and it literally allowed us to grow as filmmakers, directors, producers. But we do feel like quality is over anything, and we feel like we can go further with this film.
So what we're gonna do is just gonna show you guys a preview of what we've shot so far with our budget.
Life, I'ma see ya. Long live my Brody, my homie, my Cody. Can't wait to see Kofi. Get well soon, bro.
Long live the King Baptista. No one can beat ya. Can't wait for the next life, I'ma see ya. Long live my Brody, my homie, my Cody. Can't wait to see Kofi. Get well soon, broski. Mid-evening, my sis belling on my phone. She's like, DG call, are you safe for your home? I'm like, yeah, I am, but why you really wanna know? She's like, 2 of your boys just got stabbed out on the road. I'm like, nah, you're joking, you're fibbing. And then she's like, nah, cause this time she ain't kidding. They just caught him in Stratford at 3:49. It's a tragedy, they told me that Baptiste ain't living. Bro, it's impossible to believe that. But she said that it's true, I can't even go check Snap. It's conversations with the G's, and instead of seeing memes, when on my phone, it's always RIP back. I knew it always stay in my heart, bro. A shitty place, Canoe has a dark hole, fucked up. But we're living in the slums, though. I'm screaming Baps one until it's heaven that we
Long
can't
live
go.
the King Baptista. Smile so bright with the thought he's a preacher. Damn, what a diva, but bro never stressed. The kid was a teacher, the plug, the connect. Every morning a spudder, every morning a hug. The ugliest laugh, but he always showed love. Man, that kid, he was tough, kind of.
London's Curse has opened so many doors for us as filmmakers that we couldn't even imagine. Like, I got to go out and direct a TV pilot episode for a series.
It's also opened up multiple client bases for us, where we've now been given a commission to create our second film about young black men's mental health with 2 local lads who have taken us on to help create this beautiful film. The reason that XVI Films are making this type of content is because we believe and know that we can shine a light on these unspoken truths that us as young people go through all the time, especially during lockdown.
Lockdown has been a massive thing for young people in the UK, and we felt like telling a story around young people's mental health is very influential in this time and something that young people can relate with.
Especially in 2021, where a lot of young black people are going through a lot of hard times. So this film specifically is going to be something that I feel a lot of us need. As young students, we feel like we've done quite a lot already being in a school setting, so we've decided to take the initiative to do a gap year where we feel like we could do much more.
In the gap here, it will consist of us doing writers' rooms that we create new concepts that we want to make, such as short films, series, a lot of more multimedia concepts. Make content that young people and people around can relate to, and something that we can watch and you be like, yo, this has actually taught me something at the end of it. As a whole, XVI Films wants to broaden out our clientele and work with a lot more people and create new content. I mean, there's a lot of new stories, new ideas that people want to go out and create, and I feel like we can facilitate with that.
Yeah.
In conclusion, we just want to make films. We just want to make content. We just want to create, and we're just young filmmakers that want the opportunity to go out there and make something special. I mean, we've been working for 2 years now, and we've understood the industry inside and out. We've worked with a lot of high-end people. We've been mentored by high-end people as well. I feel like this gap here is going to be an opportunity for us to spread our wings and actually go out there and create cool content.
Myself, Marcus and Tyreek created XVI Films for a reason, and that's to make quality over nothing, and we know that we can do that from this year and onwards. We've worked so hard for these past 2 years, and we know that there's a lot more for us to give. So we hope you enjoy. Thank you guys for listening. I've been Stella Maduni.
I've been Marcus Austin.
Thank you for listening to XVI Films.